6.
How do you change your name on Zoom?
So I think
you have 3 dots on your picture, and then you can change. You can choose rename.
Perfect, thank you.
Hello. Nice. All right, so we are live. So what I can offer you is just to start. So there's still few people that are supposed to join, but I will just start with a short introduction, and so to give them a little bit more time to join us and to catch up on the flow. So first of all, welcome everyone. That's really nice to have you here today, tonight, depending on where you are. So this is the 4th event of Course for Climate, the web series that share and exchange solutions to tackle climate change. So my name is Thomas. I'm working for Climate Connect, with whom I shared the incomprehension that even though climate change has causes and consequences happening all around the world, there wasn't some easy way of and easy accessible networks for all people that were taking action from all around the world. So this is why we've created this these non-profits organizations that is focusing on promoting and connecting climate actors. So we've created online digital platform that we'll share just right now quickly. And so if my screen share works properly, you can find, so here is the main page on which you can find projects, organization and members. And all of those are taking actions against climate change. So what you can do on the platform is just to create an account, then share a project. So for example, you can have, like, each project, we have one specific page where you can put some specific informations. So like with a short summary, you can directly contact people through the platform. We have integrated a chat system. You can also make short project descriptions to add a bit more content. And then last but not least, the collaboration part, which is something we really care about because it's really at the core of our activities, which are, we aimed to allow organizations to display the different skills they were needing help and get help with in order to increase their impact. So more related to putting people and collaborating organizations together, but also between organizations themselves, like in the connections to those organizations, which is more about creating connections and helping organizations to create partnerships, like business partnership, for example, but also knowledge sharing and communications between different organizations. So as you would have guessed, collaboration, knowledge sharing, and collective actions are really at the core of what we are doing at Climate Connect, and this is exactly what we want to do today with this event about sustainable mobility. So to introduce the event, it will last for about an hour and a half and will be decomposed into 2 main parts. The first part is going to be more like a round table where everyone can just introduce himself or herself. And then we will move through an open discussion. We'll be more approaching topics about sustainable mobility in general. So we welcome you all again. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We also have a short final announcement at the very end. So we recommend everyone who's watching us to stay until the end. They can also ask questions on the YouTube channel, and we have some dedicated question and answer periods, so we can and we will take care of transferring these questions to the people they belong. So I think it's yeah, done for this short introduction. So we can start directly jumping into the roundtable part. Maybe so we could just give you the word. Maybe Caroline from Smoove, do you want to go first? Maybe.
Yes, if you want, I can start. Just let me share my screen.
Do you have the rights already, or do I need to give them to you? I think now it should be good.
Okay. Sorry, it's taking. Okay. Oh, I do ask. Maybe someone else can start because I have to quit the reunion to allow Zoom to share my screen. I don't know why. Sorry.
Okay, sure. No worries. Who does someone wants to take her place and what she's joining back? Maybe Quentin, do you want to carry on?
Yes, for sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Quentin Morette. I'm co-founder of Roule. Maybe we can, I can begin with, sorry for my English, because I'm French, so we have not the reputation to have a very good English. I'm trying my best. So first of all, according to them in France, the transport sector accounts for 38% of greenhouse gas emission. And also the car is too much used to go to work. That's why people tried to change their way to go to work. And so we saw an increase of 128% of sales of electric scooters. Okay, between 2017 and 2018. So, and the accidents increased at the same rate and at the same time as electric scooters did. So that's why we created Roule 2 years ago. Roule, we are a startup specializing in prevention and training in new mobilities, particularly in electric scooters. We propose action to introduce users to driving and safety rules for electric scooters while promoting an eco-mobility approach. This is done by, first of all, operational actions, awareness stands, initiation circus with workshops or groups rides, digital actions, in particular with the e-learning training or webinars. And we are a young French startup, so and we constantly improve our approach to this. We collect through a satisfaction questionnaire the expectation of citizens regarding to mobility of tomorrow. And this is by placing the user at the earth of our approach that we support our customers' actions with a high environmental impact. And to conclude, to be part of an awareness raising and training approach for responsible use of electric scooters users, the free-floating operators, cities, companies, schools, or associations are committed to carry out various actions with the general public. So Roule, as a specialist of this subject, supports this actor through a series of field operations.
Thanks.
I don't know if it was very clear.
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Thomas.
Caroline, so do you want to try this time?
Yeah, I should be ready now. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries.
You need to allow me to share the screen again.
Oh, okay. All right, now it should be good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So hello everyone, my name is Caroline. I work for Smoove. I'm the head of marketing and communication. Smoove is a specialist in active mobility for sustainable cities. We were created in 2008. It was just the beginning of the first wave of bike sharing in France. We have about 50,000 bikes in worldwide, in 5 continents and in 23 cities. And among those cities, we have Paris, Helsinki, Lima, Vancouver, many different cities, some bigger, some smaller. In 2020, all our bike schemes have all our bikes have ridden 220 million kilometers. So that's a lot. And when we'll be probably talking about modal shift, it's very interesting to say that all those kilometers are not ride by car, but by bike. We are part of a group called Mobivia. Mobivia is a big ecosystem around sustainability for all. And we have a business unit dedicated to new mobility and sustainable mobility, which is called URyde. This is our latest bike. So it's electric or mechanical bike. It's geolocalized, and the fact that it is geolocalized allows us to have to propose 2 cities, either mechanical, electrical, or virtual station. This is very interesting because bike sharing has evolved a lot in terms of business model. We used to have free floating on the side and docking station as traditional system with subsidies from cities. Now the system are more merging, let's say, and traditional system tend to offer free floating because more and more cities are interested by this type of mobility. All our system are accessible by app and by RFND, which means a transport card, and of course from website. We believe at Smoove that the future of active mobility will be electrical. It's the best way to increase modal share for biking. It will be multimodal, and I guess we will talk about this because this is the key. We need to have a coherent system that work together and that work together with public transport. It has to offer various modes, and what we believe is to develop biking as a sustainable mobility is to deploy various types of bike sharing, so of bike offer, so it can mix, of course, secured bike lanes, but also helping people to buy their own bike, also having a bike sharing system, having a long-term rental bike share, and this all together will help the city to increase the mobile share. And so for all these reasons, and I don't want to be too long, we believe bike sharing is one of the best tools to fight climate change because it's affordable. Of course, it helped to, sorry, I had emojis and they disappeared. Because it helps, of course, to have a city with cleaner air. And we've seen it after the lockdown that people tend to to prefer bike to public transport because it allows social distancing. Of course, it helps to have less congestion because bike take way less space in cities than cars. It develops local economy and it's fast to deploy. So that's why we believe each city, big or small, should have its own bike share system.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
I will stop sharing. Oh.
Okay, perfect. Grace, do you want to carry on?
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah, I've also got some slides to show, so I'll just load those up now. Great, yeah, so thank you for having me. My name is Grace Packard and I'm a principal consultant at Momentum Transport Consultancy. We're based in the UK with offices in Ireland and Canada as well. And we're made up of planners, analysts and engineers to try and progress urban mobility through influencing developments and strategies. So I'm very lucky in that my job gives me a unique opportunity to talk to a broad range of stakeholders, say from architects through to transport operators as well. And ultimately, my intention is to get as many people talking to each other about solutions to urban problems, such as sustainability, and how we can influence modal shift towards more active modes, whilst also enabling those urban areas to continue operating as efficiently as possible. So what are our views on urban mobility? We think that cities should now and in the future continue to provide an appropriate means for people and freight and other essential deliveries and services to move around urban areas. Space is very scarce, but it needs to be used as effectively and as safely as possible. And also creating spaces that people enjoy using as well. But that isn't to say that a successful city isn't a sustainable city, because sustainability incorporates both the economic and the social context too. So it's very important that we get the balance right. So in planning, it's very clear that we need to focus on environmental sustainability. Yet we need to work out how our current planning system is working and how it's in place to ensure that these developments and the city that they sit within can still function. So in some cases, planning policy can actually hinder our efforts. And this is why events such like this are really useful, because we can listen to one another and share knowledge and understand what works and what doesn't. So I can go back in my job and talk to project stakeholders about these possibilities that everyone else has been talking about, and also help to inform a successful urban development that hits all three pillars of sustainability. So over the last year, I've been focusing a little bit more attention to the rise of micromobility. E-scooters, they're a new mode which can be taken anywhere at the choice of the owner, and they can greatly enhance accessibility. So with this, people can travel further in a shorter amount of time, which is why they present a great alternative to car trips for short journeys. And with this, there's also the potential to reduce cars from roads and reduce their carbon emissions in the process. And it helps us reclaim space in cities for people and of course for nature as well. I recently explored this potential in London, and I looked at the accessibility increase where car dominance is very high in outer London. And I found through some mapping exercises that 65% of outer London could actually be within a 10-minute journey of their town centre if they were to use an e-scooter. So that represents a huge potential to remove car trips from the road. Alongside this, I've also been looking at e-scooter parking and how it should be designed in offices, because we know that by providing adequate parking, that can also encourage e-scooter use, and then resulting in further cars being pulled off the road. I've also been looking at cargo bikes as well, because this is as much about people as it is about freight. And I'm looking into how we can redesign cities to enable more use of both the people carrying and goods carrying cargo bikes. But the big question I'm facing is how much road space can I take away from motor vehicles and give it to e-cargo bikes? It's not that simple, unfortunately. Like I said at the beginning, yes, we need to be more sustainable. Yes, we need to be more innovative and trust technology and big changes, but we need to make these changes without causing chaos. There's a particular way in which we need to go about urban mobility to make it more sustainable. And I'm with you all here. It's absolutely a joint effort. So I'm really pleased to be here today and talking about the work that I do and listening to everyone else as well. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. Nadia, do you want to go next? So you're still muted?
Yes, better. Thank you. So I will share my screen too. Yes. Sorry, just a moment. Oh yeah, they're asking me as for Caroline to leave the reunion, so I'm just coming back.
So hopefully it won't take too long for her to come back. You can just wait for her. Perfect.
Okay, I'm back. So yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me, and very happy to meet you all. So I'm Nadia. I'm the public affairs manager at Zoov. So Zoov is a French e-bike company, e-bike sharing company. We were created in 2017 with the idea that frontier technology could really help the bike sharing industry to go to the next level. So we have developed ourselves a whole new solution of bike sharing. So from the bike, so we have developed the bike that you see here, which is a connected e-bike. So at the same time, very nice to ride for the user, very secure, and also very easy to operate because we collect a ton of data on the bike that help us to be very efficient in operations. So this bike can be used dockless or also with a station. So as well, we have developed our own parking station that is very light, as you can see, very light on the ground, very compact, to be mindful of the public space, because as Grace said, we have to share this space. And we want to offer a cities very flexible and light solution and infrastructure. So we believe that this hardware that is developed has to be linked to also the software. This is why we work a lot on connectivity and on connecting the e-bikes and making the link with the user, with the operator, to have a really complete and whole service that is turnkey. And today, so we have about 1,000 e-bikes in almost 20 cities in France. Sometimes we operate ourselves the e-bikes. Sometimes we partner with operators or with cities directly. And we believe that bike sharing systems are not only for big cities, they are also for smaller cities, because they also face they also face pollution problems. They also need an alternative to the cars, and we want to offer them this service thanks to a very light technology that they can easily implement on their own territory.
Thanks. Malte, or sorry if I just not really pronounce your name, but do you want to carry on? Yeah, you're still muted. We can't. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I would share my screen.
Yep, sure.
You have to activate it.
Yeah, I just did it. Can you do it now?
Ah, yeah. Perfect. So, yes, thank you for your great invitation and your friendly introduction. I'm very happy to introduce URyde to you today. My name is Malte. I'm the CEO of URyde. Together with my brother Johannes, a mechatronic engineer, and Nino, a software developer, we founded URyde in March 2020 here in Erlangen. It's a city close to Munich. URyde has a 6-person team and a 4-person advisory board with people from politics and business. One is, for example, the co-founder of Pay by Phone, a company that made parking digital, or the former CEO, division CEO, or Christian. What is the problem we would like to solve? Currently, the average occupancy rate in Germany is 1.2 person per car, and CO2 emissions are increasing since 1990 in the mobility. So this is the reason why we developed URyde, and cross-employer carpooling mobility. And there are 2 important points to solve this problem. So the first point is the critical mass. We solved the problem with a cross-company solution. So this means we work with big companies together. For example, Siemens or Adidas is one of them. And an employee from Siemens can share the ride with the employee, for example, with Adidas. So it's a cross-company solution. And the second point is the flexibility. This is the driver perspective, and we solve the problem with the flexibility to combine the navigation and the carpooling. So it's very easy. You enter your destination and you see the traffic data in advance, so you can choose the best time for you with the lowest traffic. And on the right screen, you see the navigation. So you get a request from URyde. We are looking around your route for a passenger, and you can click yes or no. If you click yes, the navigation will rebuild automatically, and you can pick up the passenger. On the passenger side, it's similar. You have a list with drivers. You can choose the best one for you, and you can book the ride. On the right screen, you see the payment. So after your trip, you can transfer money from the passenger side to the driver side. So it's an in-app payment, and the system is pay what you want. So URyde make a suggestion, but you can say, I like to pay more, or you can pay less. Yes, this was a short story about URyde. Of course, we are always looking for new talents, for new employees. In March, in September this year, we will launch here in Erlangen-Nuremberg, some months later in Berlin and Munich. And if you like to have more information, ask me. I'm very, very happy to introduce you URyde today. Thank you.
Thank you. Holger, do you want to carry on?
Yes, certainly.
Yep.
So, can I share my screen?
Yep, supposedly.
Yes, I just override the previous sharing. Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Holger Büch. I work for Hydrogenious LOHC Technologies, which is a company located in Erlangen, Bavaria, Germany. A company which is not anymore to be called a startup, I would say. So we are six years old and we have about 100 employees. And what we are concerned with is how to bring the energy in large scales from one location to the other. So we heard about electricity as an alternative to fossil fuels, but the other big alternative is, of course, hydrogen, especially if you talk about really large scale importing of energy from energy rich areas of the world to usage rich areas of the world. Let's say, for example, from a desert area where you have a lot of sun power, but there's not much power that you need at this this location, so you want to bring it somewhere else. So you can transform the electric energy or the renewable energy into hydrogen, and this you can use to store it. However, hydrogen itself, of course, is a very small molecule which likes to go through many surfaces very easily, so it's difficult to keep it. And also, of course, the reason, or hydrogen has a lot of potential power to be used as an energy carrier, but this can also go wrong, of course, if the hydrogen comes into contact with oxygen, it can explode. So it's always a bit tricky to transport hydrogen. And what we suppose, or what we have on offer, is to bind the hydrogen chemically onto LOHC. LOHC is a mineral oil. However, the oil is not used up, it's not burned. There's no emissions like carbon dioxide in large scales. It's like a deposit bottle where you basically bound the hydrogen onto that oil, and then the oil is a very safe medium that you can transport over large time or large distances without any losses. It cannot burn, it cannot explode, and then you can bring it. You can bring it then to a place where you need it, and you can then take out the hydrogen of that oil, and you can bring that back, the empty oil, back to the energy-rich place. And this is, for example, for cities, an interesting factor if you think about a hydrogen release station where you want buses or the remaining cars to be fueled with hydrogen. And then, of course, the people that live near that station, they might not be so happy with very large amounts of hydrogen being stored in large bunkers directly next to the station and directly next to their homes. But underground tanks of LOHC, this oil, which is not dangerous in large amounts, is then not a problem. So we could get the hydrogen out here, and then we could get it into use it for cars, for example, for buses, for ships, or to store it, or to use it for anything else that you need. And what we're also looking to is that we bring our oil directly on board of mobile platforms, for example, on ships, so that you don't transfer molecular hydrogen from a fuel station to a ship. You actually you fuel the ship with LOHC, and then you can on board you actually get the hydrogen out just the amount that you exactly need in that moment to provide your energy. That way would be a very safe way that you can distribute energy amounts, large energy amounts around the globe. Yeah, so this is our business, this is our story. Thank you guys for listening, and I'm happy to start a discussion later on. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, Professor Ekhart, do you want to carry on? So we was so you're still muted, so we can't hear you for now. Yep. Yeah, so we can't hear you because you're still muted. Okay, now it should be good. Can you say something?
Yeah, I can. Okay. I'm very sorry that I'm late. I thought it starts 6:30 and not 6 o'clock. I'm very sorry about it. Yeah, what do I have to say? I'm just for my background, because I don't have a special technology, but I'm an urbanist. I'm urban planner since 50 years and work about post-fossil future cities and what it has to do with change and new types of mobility. That's I want to tell a little about it. And the main idea of future cities is that there will be a renaissance of the local. We call it future cities, and even it is mega cities or villages, they all will be much more organized cellular. That has to do with basic innovations we have at the moment. So for example, local energy. So maybe we have to bring it from the desert, but we have a lot of local we should need. And there will be also cyclic systems, water systems, nutrient systems, material flow systems. We have this cradle to cradle technologies. So this will all go in a direction of more cellular and local systems. So the future of cities will look different. In a way, it's as always cities have been, but so there will be a big change. And I'm working with a team at the moment how these cellular structures will work. And if we can see one of my files, we are just planning a model city, a cellular model laboratory and education center. And if the file is available, I would like to show it to explain you what I mean with it. Thomas, it will work, or if not, then I have to. You're still trying, yeah?
Yep. No, I can share it for you. Doc, I think that's the one. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Up.
Not this one. So, but here you can see, for example, this is the city of Berlin, yeah, on the right side, upper file. So how it will be organized much more in such cellular structures. So neighborhoods of short distance, mixed functions, car-free, and so on. So it has a lot of to do also with mobility, but also with changing social systems, technological systems, but also economical systems, because there will be a lot of new jobs to run and maintain these decentral systems. So it will also mean it will be a renaissance of the people who live in these neighborhoods. It has also to do, you know, with local jobs, and I said already. And I will show you on the next file such a cellular structure. So this is such a structure in the south of Berlin. It's called Wünsdorf. And here you can see, and here it's new. It was before, it was a military area. So it's a reuse of all the structures and buildings of such a military structure. but about 3/4 new buildings, 1/4 old ones. But what I want to focus on is that in the center, you see this green area, and it's a car-free neighborhood for about 10,000 trainees, because I told you it's a campus, it's an educational city and a laboratory for all these new technologies. But to tell about mobility, so in this neighborhood or this town of about 10,000 people, there are no cars. The cars are tangentially here around the city. Here you can see we have
no.
arrow or something like this. Which one is it? Is it? No, I cannot find it. Okay, then give me the file again, please. Okay, but the cars are not in this city, they are outside. There is a big mobility center here where you have all the cars for car sharing and new systems, which you explained also before. But inside, there's only with bicycles and walking, but high quality of environment. And this environment is also productive environment. So this settlement can produce 80% of vegetarian food itself. With glass houses, but also in the open space. So it's a park, it's a productive park. We have also cycles of water. So everything is organized in cycles and 100% self-sufficient of concerning energy. And but I want to focus on this mobility aspect because you can organize the same system in the existing cities. So if we exchange our existing cities according to these cellular structures, this will be the future. You know, climate change will be decided in the cities. So we have to reduce CO2 by 60–70% in our cities. And we did a lot of research in this field, and this needs this type of new structures. Mobility is only one aspect. All these cyclic systems are the other aspects I explained before. Another point is if you have a lot of production and also home working space and co-working spaces in these cities, you need much less traffic than in cities of today. And with coronavirus is speeding this process a lot. So I think you will have it in your cities. We can see it very directly in Berlin, that this direction is very much speeded. So I could tell much more, but I think it's just a short introduction that this type of new cellular structures with a renaissance of the local will change the mobility systems in existing cities, big cities and small cities, including villages, and will have a lot of influence on mobility of future. And the systems you explained before can be introduced very well in such a system. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you. All right, so Ratri, do you still have some problems with your connection, or so you're still muted? Yep. So yeah, do you want to also to maybe just quickly introduce yourself too?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Ratri. I'm from Indonesia, and currently here is in a midnight. So basically, I'm a junior lecturer in one of the private university, and I'm here. I will give like different perspective against the mobility issues. As you know, like the Indonesia is located in the Southeast Asia, so it's basically considered as the highly populated country. So we are relating with this kind of issues of mobility and also the traffic jam. So one of the innovative ways that built by Indonesians is it's quite similar with the Grab or Uber for the modern transportation service, but then it's named the Gojek. This kind of the system actually it consists all the aspect of the daily needs. For example, it's divided into four category. The first one, in the transportation sections, we have an options like either we can choose using any motorcycle or car, or even get an exclusive ride by the taxi, or we can ask for the sending the package and also sending the heavy property. And for the second, it's very interesting because in the food and shopping sections, we have like groceries purchasing and also to order any kind of medicine and prior to the chat with the doctor first. And the third is in money or payment. We have wallet. We can use this e-money to pay any bills and also give donations and get an investment as well. And the last is in the entertainment. In the entertainment sector, is to avoid any long queue that might be disturbing our moment. So that simply we can order it the ticket for the concert or even for the live event. I think it's very interesting because it's uniqueness against their competitor like the Grab and Uber. As you know, like I'm living in Southeast Asia, and knowing about the situations of my country, I've looked at and the country nearby is like Singapore, Malaysia, and also Thailand. And I think like from all of this, I think the Singapore still gives good examples for us on how to manage the mobility, because I've been there like couple times, and I found that I enjoyed the public transportation because they already integrate and they already connected all the system, even the informations about the route, about the bus timing, and about the payment into one app, and it's being installed in a smartphone. I think like we all agree that the smartphone right now is an essential need for the modern people. So that's why I think it's viable and relatable to be implemented. But then the highlighted point that I should deliver is like this kind of Gojek app isn't the main solutions on how to tackle the mobility problems in my country actually. But then it's just an options on how to in the future maybe it can be improved or it can be well managed to tackle this kind of problems. And yeah, so far that's all the brief explanations about what currently happened in the country that are far away from the Europe. And I think we are living in the South Asia, we have the different climate as well. So the particular solutions might be not well implemented in my country, like using maybe like bicycle or something the vehicle that very exposed to the environment. I think it's not well implemented in my country. Thus I'm opening for any kind of suggestions or even a comment that might be construct our discussions, so that's why we can solve the problems not just in my country but then for all around the world. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think so now we've just finished the round table. So we have one or two questions from from YouTube. One question would be: is the electricity that does electricity comes from renewable energy providers for electric bike recharging? So I think this question will more likely be to Nadia and Caroline, but just Caroline said like she had like some unfortunate, so she won't really be available for for the next 15 minutes. So maybe Nadia, do you have something to answer to that? So you're still muted.
Sorry. Of course, the electricity that that is used for the e-bikes needs to be decarbonated for the e-bikes to be really to be a real tool against climate change. So that's one thing. The electricity needs to be decarbonated. And the other, I think the other, it's a bit, it's not exactly the question, but it's still important to note that also in the conception of the e-bike, everything has to be, there are CO2 that has to be affected in the fabrication. And so it's very important in the conception of the e-bike to be as green as possible with material that can be reused, etc. So the question of climate change is in the electricity, and it's also in the conception of the e-bike and the fabrication. And these are all challenges that we have in mind.
Okay, yeah, got it. Another questions which can be more general is like, do you generally work with the government? I think more in the way like of the city government to solve the parking problem, and this relates a bit more like how do you occupy the space and what's the relation with city governments around that?
Is it still for me?
I would like for you too, because because with the bike being on the street, it sort of relates to you, but I think like it can also concern Grace, for example, and that's so everyone who wants, like, for those type of questions, anyone wants to still have something to say, it's just like more an open discussion. Just don't hesitate to interact if you have something to add.
Well, for cities, we really work closely with them. So in some cities we are completely dockless. So in this city we don't have many problems regarding incivility. I think now it used to be the case for systems maybe 3 years ago, but now we have regulated a bit more the dockless systems, so it's less of a problem. But we also have the parking stations. We have conceived them exactly because cities sometimes in small, very cute city centers, they don't want to have bikes everywhere. So we have these very light stations that can be deployed in 45 minutes, so very rapidly. And for this, we also work with cities to see where is the best place, where it can be visible for the user, where the best place also for the bike, so next to a bike lane or next to a train station, because we see that in some territory that we have, 1 in 2 trips are coming from or going to a train station or metro station. So so we really work closely with cities to determine these parking spots.
Okay.
I want to add something because in many cities, I think all over the world, city governments have the task to organize a change to more sustainable mobility. Because concerning climate change, it's extremely important. And so there's a big subject, new mobility hubs, to organize them in city. And that has a lot to do with, for example, the bike systems you just mentioned. And it has also to do how to change the neighborhoods to reduce traffic and to change to bike traffic from car traffic, and also more space for humans and less for cars. I think this is just starting, and as you all know, in Copenhagen, and there are some cities advanced, but many other cities are now following. So many cities have such programs. So I think it's a really important subject, and the driving force are civil society, but also the governments working, and in many cases they work quite well together. Step by step, it's getting better. The cooperation between civil society and city governments. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really like an important topic about like how joining like all the different stakeholders, because like cities does not only belong to the governments, doesn't only belong to the people, but also to neither to the organizations and companies that share the bicycle, and it is all about those interactions that are making it like difficult to implement, but also kind of powerful, because from the moment all of those actors agrees on, like, for example, okay, let's try to reduce our carbon emissions and therefore go through a more sustainable way of moving, then if they're all on the same way with the same vision, it's actually more powerful just to go all together that way. So so first of all, is there also some question that you would like to ask to each other regarding their presentation, or some other remarks that you want to say concerning some business or ideas and problematic that people have already mentioned now, or should we jump to the open discussion directly? Okay, yeah, then just move out. So what I can suggest for for these parts, so I've imagined like some sort of frameworks to go over so this open discussion. However, we want it to be as free and interactive as possible. So if there's any important topics that we haven't thought of, or you think is important to be mentioned, just don't hesitate just to spontaneously ask and tell about this one. So the idea we had was first to go over, all right, like what would be the ideal case? Just imagine an utopia, or what would be the best city with the best system of mobility. And so that will kind of create like a goal of what would be the golden city, and then go over the reality. Okay, what's the current states of mobility in a global way? What are the important actors? And after having the reality, try to see, okay, what are the problems that's forbidding us to go from the reality to the goal that we could think as the best way to have mobilities. And after having highlighted those problems, try to see, okay, what could be solutions that we could address to those problems. So if you're fine with that, we could start with the utopia, and maybe it would be even a bit easier if you could all start with how would be the best case, the best vision for you regarding your specific sector. So I don't know if so someone wants to start first with that. So what would be in each case the best situation for your individual sector?
Okay, I will start. Maybe the best word would be the word that where everybody will find his mobility, because there are a lot of constraints. And but first of all, we need to know what the population wants. Now we know that people in cities want less cars because it's stressful. It's a lot of pollution. But I think the first step for the utopia is that everybody will find his own mobility, and for a different to go to work, or for for task at every time. But I think we need to like ask people what they want, because some of them will want like their own bike. Others want like shared bike because they will walk most of the time because they are in the center of the city. But others people want maybe electric scooters because they have some trouble or things like that, or they want to go faster. They have like, I don't know the word in English, but they want to go up. So it's quite hard with classic bikes. I think the first step is to ask people what they want, and just show them that it's very easy to get out of the car, and just so give them the tools to try different mobility. I think that's the best way to go to the utopia and to reduce climate change.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And yeah, I think that's quite an important topic you mentioned about like flexibility and also interconnections between different types of transportations. Some people that just live in the suburbs take the train to go to the city centers, but then just need also the last mile transportations that then either can take a bike or electrical scooter, etc. Yeah, so yeah, flexibility. Okay, so it's quite an important topic. Yeah, so does someone also have something to add to that?
I'm happy to hop in there. Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the key things to remember before we start dreaming away about this utopia is that many of the cities out there are extremely historic. So it's difficult to use the space that's there at the moment, and there are new cities which are doing a wonderful job of doing so, and of course there's urban sprawl, so the urban areas themselves are expanding, and they don't necessarily follow the same patterns that the city centres show as well, and we have an opportunity to really influence them, and we're seeing this all over the world. For me, I think one of the key things is making sure that space is flexible and can be used by everybody out there, because there needs to be a lot of social cohesion. We can't allow some groups to use particular types of transport and other groups not to. It needs to be an equitable city as well. And that lends itself to fighting climate change, because those modes that are more equitable tend to be the most active solutions. So we're talking bikes, e-scooters, e-bikes, and we're looking at different types of bikes that are coming forward as well. So some that are adapted for people with disabilities, and they need the space to use those. So we need to make cycle lanes wider. We need to allow we need to reclaim back the use of the space that these huge chunks of metal are using at the moment. But I don't want to say let's completely rid cities of cars, because cars are useful for many people and for many industries, but we need to try and change people's behavior to make them see that this 10-minute journey by car could actually be a 20-minute cycle. And that is as convenient as using a car. And that's the thing that we need to do. So without me talking for too long, I think my utopian city would be, number one, efficient, number two, very green. And that's just not greenery at ground level, that's on rooftops as well. I think that can be very beautiful. And trees are wonderful. If we can start to reclaim back land for trees within cities, and also buildings that are sustainable in themselves, and encourage people to travel to them in the right sort of way through greener modes of transport, I think that would be an incredible future to have.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree totally. And if we want to have more trees, it's a question to have a little less cars, because now we have all the space in the cities for cars. But I think my vision is the 5-minute cities. If I can reach most things I need in my daily life and can then I don't have to go long distance. So this 5-minute city or 10-minute city and minutes by walking or by bicycle, then I don't need cars. So the main point, I think, is to reduce car traffic. I think it's possible if you change the neighborhoods that people don't need car, that they can really reach their daily things by bicycle or by walking. And we can see it in many cities that people like it a lot. And then they can change a lot of space from car space to green space. And people get very engaged in it. And in many cases, they are fighting for this kind of change because they want it. And so I think that is a big chance also for climate change from many sides. So concerning green, but also higher quality of neighborhood.
And I think like oh yeah, sorry, go on.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay, thank you. So this is me from Indonesia. Once again, I introduce the conditions of my country. Living in a Southeast Asia, it's quite different with dealing with the climate, right? But then I think, yes, I agree with those concepts of smart, modern cities with the connected system of transportations, even you're using the bike or walking and being environmental friendly. But then I think the first thing is to identify the needs of the people in that country first, to identify the typical of the country, the locations, the climate, and etc. And then the second the second is projecting the solution that affordable for everyone. I think like in the highly populated country like Southeast Asia mostly, we are having so many people. That's why I think the viable solutions is to maximize the functions of public transportation. So that's why I think like to integrate those informations into one app and installed into our smartphone is I think it's an effective way to reduce the numbers of car or private transportations. And the goal is like to make the citizen on how to feel convenient enjoying the public transportations by reducing all the crowd that may be happen, like reducing after integrate all the informations, route, bus timing, and even payment inside one app, and it will be very it will easier for us to enjoy the public transportations. And talking about the future that might be implemented, like using the car or bicycle or scooter and etc. I think it can be happen, but then for certain countries it needs a process. It's not just instantly the government will implement all the system, the transportations using the environmental friendly, let's say like using the car and etc. Because every person has the constraint, right? And it's a big issue for us living in the near the equator. We have very hot climate and we should deal with this kind of situations. And I think the first approach and on how to make it available is to maximize the public transportations first, and then maybe later on we can maximize and adopting the system just like in Europe. That's all from me. Thank you.
And I think also something important that Grace mentioned, that it was not like, it wasn't about like banishing all the cars from for cities, because they were still important. And I think that relates quite with Malte and also Holger or solutions are doing about we will still need cars, but for example, car sharing or like a wonderful solution just to lower the amount of cars, and even more hydrogens by providing hydrogen more easily. It will also allow, for example, car to be working at hydrogen. So those two solutions are dedicated to can also significantly make an impact on lowering the impact through using cars.
Yes, understood. And I also agree with this kind of concept. So that's why I said like the first approach and it is viable is to maximize the using of the public transportation first, because we have the huge number of populations that daily always do their activities and migrate from one place to another one. And I think by maximizing these public transportations, the private transportations will be reduced, and hopefully it will give the good impact to reduce the climate.
To maximize the using of currently transportation, Malte, did you try to like go to Asia? Because if I understood well, what your solution is about sharing existing way of transportation and also cars. And how is the Asian market about that?
Yeah, the Asian market is very interesting for us. First, we will launch and we will start here in Germany and Europe. After that, we will go for sure to Asia, because there are a lot of people. We have a big problem with the car traffic in the cities, much more than here in Europe. And our approach is to reduce the traffic if we have a more occupancy in one car. So for example, in Germany, we have 1.2 people in one car. So one car has 4 or 5 seats. And if you have from 1.2 people per car to 2 people per car, you have 50% more space for trees, for bikes, for other mobility solutions. And I think this is a very important point, because the capacity on the road, it's already there. We have to make it visible. And this is our solution. And I think I agree completely that we have a future mobility that is flexible, that is sustainable, that is connected with everything. But I think the first step is we need less cars in our cities. And for sure, our vision is that we have no cars, but I think we have we need a realistic way. And I think there's the first step, that we have a better occupation per car. And this is our approach, yes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Holger, how do you also see like the future for like implementing hydrogen supplies into the cities? Is it like, I mean, in the time frame, is it something that can be possibly done within like few years, or would it take like some few decades before being properly being implemented?
I mean, there are already hydrogen cars in operation, but of course, it's probably not the cities where hydrogen will have the biggest piece of the cake in terms of the energy carrier, because in cities, I mean, you keep saying we also need, we will still need cars. Of course, we will need some ambulances, we need taxis, we need buses, and we need for handyman, we need, of course, trucks and all of that. And for delivery of things, we need all of that. But in the city, usually you should be fine with electric. You will be fine with electric cars. It's but of course, transport is not limited to cities. You will have transport in between cities, and there, of course, for large distances, electricity becomes a problem because you need large batteries. You need to recharge them. It takes a lot of time and so on. So I think within cities, you will have both in terms of cars. You will have hydrogen and electric cars, and it's more outside of the cities and for larger scale transport, also on ships for global trade and all of that, where you need, you will end at hydrogen.
Okay. Also, like one question which is like, yeah, global for everyone. So we already talked and mentioned about the relation with the city governments, and like they were needed to be on board to make those progress. You also mentioned that even though they will be willing to act when the cities is already be like constructed and people are used to use a certain way of mobility for quite a long time, it can be really hard and take a long time before mentality of people change and just to switch to other modes of transportations. However, I think over the last few years, we all see there was like a huge improvements or like switching towards other types of mobility. But can we also have your opinion about like how, if it's going to be hard in the future, it's going to be easier, or what's all basically your expectations towards the evolution of mentality? And also, how could we also help and work together towards making those mentality change faster? Because this is also how we can work together and how we can be powerful together.
Okay. I think talking about the mentality and the habit of people, especially in living in Asia, they prefer to use their own private. The fact is they prefer to use their own private transportations, like their own car, their own scooter and motorcycle, etc. But then I think it will be available, because like people going to get like more educations about what's happening right now, and the earth needs extra concern about to save any solutions against the climate change. But then, yeah, I think it still took times, because right now, like this is the fact. The jam got severe in a big holidays, like in a Muslim holidays. Even in a big city, in our capital city, in Jakarta, the car even stuck in a highway, and it's for a day. You can imagine, like a day they stuck in the car in a highway. It's happened because massively people just going back home from the capital and going back home to their families and just enjoying, celebrating that moment. So it's happened, and right now I think our government already struggle and trying to handle this kind of issues, like they are maximizing the smart city, just like what you say. But then in this case, they used to maximize the public transportation. So they built up like an LRT, MRT. So that's why they increase the numbers of stations. So people like think twice to use their own private transportation. So they will prefer to use the public transportations, because these numbers of stations can reach their own destinations. So this is the goals of our government, and not only in Indonesia, but then in Malaysia, because I'm studying there for 2 years in Malaysia. I think Kuala Lumpur also have the similar case like Jakarta, because this is the capital city. People go there and got a job, working and everything. Mostly the activities happens in the capital. So in the working time, like early morning and then the evening, the traffic jams strikes. And I think like the affordable approach is like to maximize the using of public transportations. But then it's different in Indonesia, like people living in a countryside like me, not in a big city, but then still got trapped with the traffic jam. Because yes, that's the problem, is in a working hour, early morning, we are fighting with like all the people just go out, even the students also studying their school, right? But then right now, because the pandemic impact, so like the numbers of jams is quite decreased, but then it still exists. And hopefully, like by opening this kind of discussions, I will get more insight about on how to solve this problem.
Yeah, maybe to add something on how to change people's behavior towards cars. Of course, people like their car, but cars are also expensive. You're stuck into traffic jams. So I think what cities need to do is to invest in infrastructure, in bike lanes, in public transportations, etc., before waiting for a change of behavior that can take decades, because of course it will. It's very linked, and for example, I live in Paris, which has a great public transportation system, which has a great bike sharing system thanks to Smoove. So we have a lot of options, and we don't have. I don't have to use my car to use a car ever. I don't even have one. I know that in other cities, it's really not the case. In smaller cities, it's people just have to have a car even if they don't want it. So, so yeah, the change of, I don't think we should wait for a change of behavior, but rather to just invest in real infrastructure and offer alternatives to car. And I'm sure that people will just jump on it.
Yeah, I completely second what you've just said, Nadia. I think above all, what we want are convenient mobility options. And if the most convenient mobility options are the sustainable, greener options, then that's all we have to do. Behavior change will take a long time. And all we can do is try and influence this change now. But I think a key way to change behavior as fast as possible is through education, and that's not through universities, that's through nurseries. So children, when they're very, very young, are very easily influenced. And if they are, for example, cycling to nursery every day, cycling to school every single day, that becomes a habit, and the bike rather than the car becomes their first option. And hopefully as they grow older, they will look at the bike as their most convenient way to get around, or that might also be the e-scooter, or it may be well on foot as well. So I think changing habits is absolutely key, and raising awareness, particularly with the youth, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that in 20 or 30 years are designing our cities and implementing the policies which are really going to impact the climate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Grace. We are working with the child in education. So with the public, I don't know, the government. So, and we thought that like children can change their habit because they don't have like a real past, and also when they understood the why we need to change our habits and behavior, they will change the behavior of their parents, because each parents, when the kids come back at home, ask their children, what did you do today? And so if there is an ad in France about like plastic bottles, and we thought that the influence of children on their parents is very hard. So the first phase is to change the behavior of the new generations, and the second phase, and the second thing is to show the worst case. Because we all know that if we continue to do the same things, we will not go into the right direction. But like we see for pollution and things like that, the fact is that we don't know what happened in the worst case, like when it's very when there is a lot of pollutions in for example major cities in China. We all saw like images about like what's happened in this city with the smoke is very low. Everybody's is in their house, and they can't like go outside because there is too much pollution. So if we show people how others people are living, if we continue to like just have our habits, like I don't know, we can have like a mask. Everybody's have a mask today, but if you have like a stronger mask, it will show the difficulty to like to breathe if there is too much pollution. And thanks to that, people will like by trying this, by have this experience, people will like change their behavior because they will see the risk for them and the risk for the new generation. And so I think it's there are two facts. This is of course the next generation, and also the worst case, showing the worst case and training like the new generation.
What we usually say is that security is the main reason why people hesitate in switching from cars to active mode, for any active mode. And this can be reduced by what you do, by educating people, but also by infrastructure. And what we usually say to cities is build it and they will come. And we have an example recently. We just started up a new bike share system in Carcassonne, which is a very small, very small city. And they told us before we installed the system, say, oh, we built many bike lanes, but we discovered after spending all that money that it was only 1% of our population that was using bikes. And we said, yes, but wait, it's maybe 1% because you just built them, but just wait a little bit and you will see. So we don't have the figures yet, but I'm sure that they built bike lane, they now have bike sharing available. I'm sure if we come back in a few months, their cycling population will have increase. The other thing I wanted to say is that we work a lot with a federation called Cycling Industries Europe. And I think federation between mobility actors is a key to influence cities. What we are building, what we're working on at the moment is agree on a good practice for tenders, because we answer to tenders to install bike sharing schemes for cities. But the fact that even between competitors, we can agree on certain way of doing it and ways of collaborating with other modes, etc. I think this is a very good sign to help cities install and develop sustainable mobility. And if I can just add one thing, and sorry, I had to quit, but I was listening. The first question at the beginning was whether the electricity for electric bike comes from renewable energy. I think that's the next big challenge for sustainable mobility, is that to be really sustainable, we need to include circular economy and industrial sustainability in our industrial processes. And we all know we have had a lot of criticism toward e-scooters, for example, that last just 2 or 3 months, etc. So I think there are many different ways of working on this. Durability of our of the vehicles is the key, but also of course reuse and end of life of all materials. This is, from my point of view, something that is only emerging among the mobility actors, and I think that's our next big challenge, to convince more people that we're truly sustainable and we should switch. They should switch. Sorry, that was all from me.
I think, like you mentioned, something really interesting about federation between actors, that even though our competitors, they just agree on good practices. And this also relates with influencing the cities? Because it's also like a question that I would like to have your opinion about, is how do you feel like cities are generally considering implementing sustainable mobilities? Because if it's about like cities invest first and then get the rewards, some might be a bit skeptical about doing it, and having those type of federations with multiple and various actors, also plus like existing proof of cities that have already done those investments and it works afterwards. But yeah, so first, how do you feel globally cities are feeling like about sustainable mobilities and investing and doing some investments? And secondly, how powerful, is there like a lot of a federation existing? Would there be like a need of creating new one? How, even maybe like cross countries, how is it around that?
I can maybe not answer to all of this, but maybe reminds something that is very important. Europe is very involved in financing mobility, and you might have heard about the New Deal, the Green New Deal, and there is actually right now a lot of funds from Europe that can help to finance several types of sustainable mobility. We actually are encouraging our prospect or cities to ask for those funds. So that's one part of financing. And the other thing is, I don't know how to say that in English, but you know, C2E. It's those certification that help. It exists, for example, for electrical bikes, but for individuals, you can get finance from Europe as well. And we are trying to build the same thing for bike sharing. It means that operators of bike sharing, but also cities are build or manufacturer of mobility could one day, as a result of the economy of CO2 they're engaging, gets some finance support from the EU.
Okay.
I can add a little bit onto that. I think at their core, cities are built by people for the people. And if it is on the people's agenda that they want to have these cleaner streets and greener streets, and that's what should come forward. And I think over time, different aspects of sustainability, whether that be environmental, social or economic, they all come through stronger at different points. But ultimately, we've got to remember that they all work with each other. So we can't have an extremely green and environmentally friendly city, because that city may not be as successful it could be. We've got to look to see what the social cohesion is looking like in those cities and what the economics is looking like. And if that can all be delivered in a way that is mindful to the environment, then that's fantastic. And I think cities are becoming more and more aware of that. It's just dependent on many other factors at the same time as well.
Okay. Does anyone else?
Just to say that cities are also in competition with each other in terms of attractiveness. So it's important for them to improve the quality of life. And sustainable mobility means cleaner air, means less congestion, etc. So they are also very concerned and interested in improving the mobility like that. For that.
But Thomas, your question was very good. I don't know if there is a project that measure like the best efficient process. We talked about that later on. the best efficient process to like merge from the actual situation to the best situation that we can have. I don't know if there are like studies about like cities that change very fast, and so the return on investment about mobility that you thought about was like very good in a short time, because that's a fact. Like the cities paid in France, cities paid because they have like some trouble with the traffic, and so they will focus their effort on different aspects. So, but the question is, I don't know if there is like the best process, if the best process by change their mobility was done yet.
Okay. I think I totally agree with this kind of like strategies. The first, we are approaching about the educations to prepare the next generations, and the second about the investment of infrastructure to maximize the most convenient first for the solutions. And then I think the third one is about the management. Currently in my country as well, many cities has implemented like a car-free day. It's like a strategy on how to decrease the CO2 in an atmosphere. I think like totally omit the car in a road, it can be happen, but then at least one day in 1 week there is a special day, we name it as a car-free day. It's like most effective solutions, I think, right now, because we are being forced, insist by the government on how to contribute to save our world against the climate issues.
And is it generally like when you get in contact with the city, do you usually go as like an individual actor, or would it be like some way to how to say, like just by teaming up? I'm thinking again with the federation, because I think it's like really really powerful means to increase the impact of everyone individually by teaming up. And so is there like possibility to go to see like a city, but by teaming up with different actors for different types of transportation, for example, with bike sharing, with the electrical scooters, with mobile like car sharing applications, with hydrogen cars, etc. So is there like such type of groups that just go to the city together and just offer a wide range of solutions, or is it like mostly just people going individually and then make their own like business with the city itself? I don't know about like how it's usually working.
Oh, okay. So you mean for carpooling? Is it about carpooling? We sharing our car?
I mean, like overall, all means of transportations overall, like wouldn't be great just to making those type of solutions a bit like Quentin just told about, having a way to assess that, okay, for this type of case, bike are better than electrical scooters, but on the other hand, these like electric scooters are better than bike, etc. And then just to create some solutions that are multimodals, if it's the appropriate terms, and that could also be more helpful for the cities, just to have like multiple interlocutors, but also like teaming up together.
Oh, okay. So luckily in Indonesia right now, due to the pandemic, people more familiar using the bike. I think that's coming from the mindset that due to the corona, the pandemic, we should maintain our health. So that's why people like massively grabbing the bike and enjoying cycling around the city. That's the currently happen right now. But then I'm not sure about the future after the pandemic ends. Is it become a habit, or it's just like a trend? You know, like sometimes people like finding another trend, so they will like shifting from their good habit using the bike, cycling, and then maybe I don't know, like the future, what the next trend. I think like this correlates with the education system. I think like by introducing this kind of the modern lifestyle becoming a trend, so it can attract the people more to trigger using the free machines well at vehicle. I think so. That's why it can be a good solutions, I think, on how to trigger the people, our citizens, to more prefer to use the motorcycle, the cycling using bike or scooter. But then from the next future, I'm not sure about the conditions after pandemic ends.
To answer your question, Thomas, I also believe, like you, that mobility, the whole mobility ecosystem can partner to offer integrated solutions. For example, in a city in France called Grenoble, we work with another startup that provides e-scooters to the city. And we provide them our e-bikes and all our connectivity, and they operate everything. So for the city, they just have one partner, one interlocutor. It's Pony, but it's a partnership that we created because there are a lot of synergies between the operations. For the users, they have one application for e-bikes and for e-scooters. So this is definitely something that that we do to partner with mobility operators, or even with, for instance, the French train company, the SNCF. They have a solution for people to calculate their itinerary, and so they have integrated a lot of also micromobility solutions. So if you go to a city, to Paris, then you want to go from the train station to your hotel. In the SNCF application, you will have all the train, the e-bikes, everything you can use. So of course, there are a lot of micromobility, especially actors. And there's definitely some room to consolidate, especially for the user, to have for the user and for the city to have a integrated solution, and only one partner and not multiple partners.
And Grenoble is one of the very good example in France. They've jumped the cycle modal share to 20%, and we are generally in France more around 7%. So it's a very good example because they did this in not even 6 years. So it's very interesting to understand how they have developed all this mobility, because they started from a very low cycling city, and now they're one of the most cycling cities in France.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, you were speaking about like consulting. It's not the job of a consulting firm to like know every solution that exists on the market and just took the need of the town or citizen and just promote the right solution to the right part of the population. Is what you mean?
Well, I mean, like this could also works, but it was like rather than having like a multitude of different potential interlocutors, that having the solution, like the solutions type. And I think like the example of Nadia is like really interesting, like having, okay, so someone who doing the operation, the one providing the like the mobile application. We can also imagine someone that is just like doing some education and training to use these type of mobilities. There's also the cities like planning, and so like urbanism, and like planning some new, like for example, bicycle lanes, etc. And I think by integrating all of these type of actors, like that sounds pretty simple when saying it. I imagine it's way harder to do it in real life for sure. but this could also be a potential way of like creating synergies between actors that work towards the same goal, basically. So just to mention, so we are already a bit further, so 17:30. So I don't know if some of you have some time restrictions and needs to leave, but we can like I still have time. So for those who wish, we can also like just stay a bit longer. But if people just have some time restrictions, they don't feel like they have to stay longer.
Sorry, I have to leave now. But thank you very much. Was very interesting for me. I wish you a good further discussion. Bye-bye.
Also really interesting talking to you.
So, yeah, same here. Thank you very much. It was very interesting to hear all of your ideas. And I'm looking forward to see a lot of that happening in our cities. And don't forget the area in between the cities. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I unfortunately might have to leave too, but there was one thing we just didn't talk about, and well, I'm just launching the discussion for maybe another time. But when we were speaking about what our dream city would be, my dream city would be that every citizen could have could access all modes thanks to the same app with a system of like pay as you go. And I think all this, we didn't talk about mass, about data compatibility, etc. So it's maybe a very technical topic, but I think it's also a key of developing sustainable modes, because the key is the user, and the simpler the experience will be, the more we will multiply usage. So I just wanted to add that, but because I thought that was a topic we didn't talk about, but we cannot talk about everything in just a few hours. So, and
service, or like you're truly also important and really interesting topic too.
Yeah, and Thomas, will you be sharing everyone's contact? Just, it was very interesting, and to get to know each other and just to keep in touch.
Yeah, I can do that, but also what we were intending to do is also to create a group chat on the platform with everyone. So here you can also talk directly. It will be like a group chat with everyone, so it will be easier to do it that way than just sending emails.
Very good. Okay, and I might leave. So thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if for those who stay, if you want, we can just carry on a bit longer. So either also, as Karen said, there was like some few topics that we haven't talked about. Is there any of them that you also would like to mention, or in anything you want to talk about that you feel important?
Your point about the like a federation who will take every aspect of the transportation, and the source is the environment, is quite a good idea, because the climate change is due to the smokes and but also about like pollution in ocean, the transportation of batteries, everything. We need to take in count everything. So the interesting things about create an association, a federation, I don't know the kind of group, is to select like the most relevant and the most like ecological partner for each city, and note about what kind of product or his commercial power is. It will be more about like the environment, and how to finally how to like develop mobility but to have in the earth the climate problem. So it's very interesting, like, because if you see like a new actor appearing on the market, like it have a disruptive innovation that will like reduce by 50%. I don't know how, but reduce by 50% the pollution. It will be very interesting to like have to help him to go on a market just because just to improve or to decrease the climate the climate change, but put the environment causes in the heart of this system will be very interesting to select the best solution for a town or a country.
Mm. And also like this type of like federation, and a bit like Nadia and Grace said again, it was it also, I think, is the use for the users, because having like only like one mobile app that's allow you to go over several transportations modes will make it definitely easier rather than having like in a city 10 different apps for different types of e-bikes, 10 different types of electrical scooters, etc. And it's also by making it more efficient, by easing also the commute for the consumer, for the user, that it will also be quite impactful. And by teaming up, it can also be a great way to do that.
Sorry for the short interruption. So it's very exciting, but I have to leave as well. So thank you very much for the great organization to make this incredible project visible. I look forward for the further exchange, but now I have to leave. Sorry for it. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening. And see you soon.
Yes, thank you, and wish you the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thomas, I need to leave too. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for everything. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. And thanks everybody. And so I hope to see you again to like launch a global project in every country. And I would be really happy to see you in like Asia or in London, because there is a great future for new mobilities. Thanks everybody.
I think like if so everyone's leaving, you should also just end up the discussion here, because we can still, if there's like more topics to talk, we can still just organize another meeting for that. And so, and as it was like if it was like today, that would definitely be a pleasure for me to organize that again. So yeah, just also want to mention that so we are on the platform, we're going to launch a hub page that is specific to transportation and sustainable mobility. So therefore, it will also be a good way to, like, first of all, stay in touch with everyone who participated here, and also just to find new actors and to get also more visibility. So we will just create a group chat with everyone, and so we can still talk about those questions and those matters. And also try to, why not, if we feel the need, just to organize another event, like a second round after this one, which could be also really interesting for people, I assume. So yeah.
Thank you, Thomas. I think I should leave sooner, because right now in Indonesia this is 2 p.m. and tomorrow I have to work. But then I can like give a brief summary. I think we all agree that in the future we have the dreams of modern cities, and we all agree that on how to maximize and integrate all the system. And the first is for sure the steps to prepare all the system is different of each country, because they have the different habit, the different mindset, and etc. But then it's okay, because we already like stimulate on how to prepare from the education system first, and then the investment of infrastructure, and also on how to manage this kind of the good lifestyle become a habit, especially in an Asian country. And then I think approaching to the sustainable mobility, like the main topic right now, we all agree on how to use it effectively. And just like what I said, I take an example from the Singapore because I've been there and enjoy their public transportation. They already connected, integrated in the smartphone. I think it could be happened also for works also for the modern transportations like scooter and etc. Just like Grace and Nadia said previously. And then I think it will works, and hopefully we will still be connected so that we can share any information from those of us have the different country and the background and everything. I think that's all for me. Thank you so much for the discussions. Thank you for welcoming me, and I'm a little bit maybe I'm quite different from the background everything here, and because I'm coming from far away in the Asia. And thank you so much, and hopefully we can come to my country especially and just see directly what currently happened in Asians actually. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Do you, Nadia and Grace, have also final words or something to add on top of that?
Well, I was just very happy about this discussion and to meet you all. So thank you, Thomas, for organizing this. And yeah, looking forward to see all the projects that we can have together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key thing is bringing different actors together so that we can all talk about our experiences and then try and implement the successful stories in our respective countries. So thank you.
You're welcome. It was a true pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Nadia.